123
What is up guys, OraMagi here, and in today's video I'm going to be doing something a lot simpler that I probably should have done a while ago, and it's going to be my top 10 favourite anime of all time. Knowing one's taste in anime is, I feel like, one of the best ways to get to know them, especially if they're making YouTube videos, because after all, anime is life. Now, I wanted to do something just, I guess, quick and simple to get a video out because I do have some more, important, higher quality content that I want to get out. Because the summer season is quickly winding down to a close, I do want to do a few things with that. I want to do an autumn preview. I've avoided news about the oncoming autumn season because I want to get genuine reactions to some of the shows that are coming out. And I also want to do some reviews. Now, those are going to take a while because I need to do research, make sure my points are valid and they're good, and it's a style of video I've never done before. But those are videos I want to get done, but I still wanted to get a video out on the channel before I start bombarding you guys with that kind of content. So without further ado, let's start making our way down the list. Number 10. So coming in at number 10 on my list is Attack on Titan. So about 4 or 5 years ago when I started seriously watching anime, Attack on Titan was one of the first anime that I picked up. And to this day, I still think it's pretty fucking cool. When I first watched it, this was back when it was like a little anime noob. I didn't know much about voice actors or studios or anything like that. So when I saw the animation, when I saw how gritty it was, I believe at the time, it was probably the bloodiest anime I've watched. I felt for the characters, like when Eren's mum died in that first episode, I was like, holy shit, this is the first episode, and his mum just died, and oh my god! Things like that were flying through my head, and to this day I still think very fondly of Attack on Titan. And the soundtrack, don't even get me started on the soundtrack. Hiroyuki Sawano, that man, that god, anything he lays his beastly hands upon just turns to gold, I swear. That was the first OST that I truly got addicted to. It was what introduced me to the world of OSTs and composers, and to this day it's definitely just one of the best things that I've listened to anime wise ever. And I'm so invested in the series. I'm on volume 18 and 19 of the manga, I've watched the series twice, I've got that poster in the background. It's still something I enjoy, and I can't wait for season 2 when that eventually comes out next year, if it doesn't get delayed again. Number 9. So coming in at number 9 on my list is Solow Online. Now, Solow Online is on this list for similar reasons to Attack on Titan. It's one of the first anime I picked up, and to this day I'm still quite fond of it. I'm aware of all the flaws it has with characterization and story and how weird it gets, and all of the issues that people like to constantly point out whenever I mention this show. So for me, being a huge player of video games, when I encountered Solow Online, an anime based on games, but not only just playing games but getting trapped in games, again, it was that whole new concept that blew my mind. Back then I was like, oh, this is sick, he's trapped in the game, there's no logout button, what is he gonna do? Oh, Kirito is actually the coolest fucking character ever. I don't think that now. I know he's pretty shit in terms of characterization, but I still like the show. It's something that I look back on and I'm like, yeah, I had fun with that. Like, I feel like I could sit down and still watch Solow Online right now and still enjoy myself, and that's what's important. Even after the series has ended, I'm still enjoying the light novels. I plan to watch the movie Ordinal Scale when that comes out, and it is something like Attack on Titan I have a lot of fun with. Number 8. Coming in at number 8 on my list is Naruto. Now, if Solow Online and Attack on Titan are on this list because I was fond of them, then Naruto is at number 8 because it is probably the anime I am the most fond of when it comes to childhood memories. I remember watching this show, seeing Naruto do the Rasengan when he's practicing with Jiraiya Sensei, and going outside to my garden and just being like, "Argh!" It was in the same vein as Dragon Ball Z. Like, I'd see something super cool, like in Dragon Ball Z's case, like the Kamehameha, and then I'd want to go outside and immediately replicate it because at the time it was the coolest shit ever. Like with the anime I've named before, I know that there are issues with it. It's incredibly cliche. Outside of the main cast, there's very few well-developed characters, but it's something. It's special to me because it was one of those starting points. Like Pokemon, it's a show that I didn't realize was anime when I was watching it, but it was still super fucking cool. And when I'm like, oh, when did I start watching anime or getting into it? Naruto's got to be there, so that's why it's at number 8. Number 7. Next up on my list, coming in at number 7, is FLCL, or Fooly Cooly. Now this show was a wild ride when I watched it. This is, I think, the show I can clearly identify as my origin point when I started to get into anime. This was back when I started going on sites like Newgrounds, when my life was just playing Flash games and things like that, and I looked on the profile of one of my favourite posters at the time, and I saw that he liked Gainax, so I googled Gainax, and I came across FLCL, and oh my god. I'm speechless. I'm speechless when it comes to this show. If you haven't seen FLCL, I heartily recommend you do. It is a wild ride. The music is great. There's times when it doesn't make sense, but there's times when it does, and it's just pure, unadulterated Gainax action, and I'm actually speechless. I'm actually trying to think my hardest to come up with points like why it's this far on the list or why I like it. But it's just like, you see me here, I'm not saying much, but I'm smiling. That's how much I like this show. And but for the sake of putting forward an actual point, FLCL was one of the first shows to demonstrate to me that anime wasn't all fun and games and sunshine and rainbows. Like, there were moments in FLCL, like with Mamimi and Naota, and just the interpersonal relationships between some of these characters where you're like, wait, they're not having fun, they're not beating each other shit with guitars and shit's not popping out of his head, and like, it's a real coming of age story where there are some really sad moments, but there are some also really damn good ones, and back to the smiles and the speechlessness. But yeah, at number 7, FLCL. Number 6. Coming in at number 6 on my list is the Pet Girl of Sakurasou. At the time I watched this show, I think it was the only slice of life show that I'd watched, and it was so colourful, it was so funny, but as I got further and further into the show, it also was very real, especially for me. Sadly, unlike Sarata, I didn't have a cute girl move in who immediately attached to me, but there were other aspects of the show I really resonated with at the time I was watching. As it was then, and still is now, I'm super into game development, so seeing Sarata go through all of his trials and tribulations to try and get his game approved, to see him fail, and then to go through like all of the almost depressiveness that hit him, and how he took that out on others and all things like that, and then to see him succeed, and to see everyone succeed as a group. That show taught me a lot about, you know, not giving up and giving up, but like when things don't go your way, how to take it properly. It also taught me that NTR exists, but aside from that, it did teach me more important stuff while still being really funny and really good, and it's definitely one of those shows that is stuck in my head. I have not read the light novel. I've been told that things turn out different. I don't know whether it's better or worse, but different. I probably will at some point, and we'll see. But yeah, as for the main reasons why Sakurasou was at number 6 on my list, I really did resonate with Sarata as a character when it came to his struggles. Number 5. Clocking in at number 5 is Psycho Pass. Now, Psycho Pass is all the way up here because this was the first show I encountered that really made me think. And I mean really made me think. Now, Psycho Pass was a show that provided a commentary on society that was really interesting. Like, it wasn't boring in any way, it was always really interesting, and it continued through to Psycho Pass 2 and the Psycho Pass movie. Like, the entire franchise as a whole is a number 5, not just the first season. Obviously, there's really hype moments with the Dominators and the changing of modes and things like that, and the whole Shivel system, and then when the Shivel system's true nature gets revealed, and all those really exciting moments. Psycho Pass was a show that really made me think about society when it introduced concepts like crime coefficient and hue, and obviously psychopasses. And I really enjoyed it. It presented it in a really interesting way. I'm not going to say an infamous scene, but if you've seen Psycho Pass 2 and I say Dominators, I think you probably know what scene I'm talking about. A very bloody scene that I had a lot of trouble digesting because I was like, Jesus Christ, they actually showed this shit. Like, it was a real dystopian anime that I really did enjoy. And again, as I said at the beginning, it really did make me think about some of the topics that it was presenting. Like, I feel like after watching Psycho Pass, I could write a fucking paper on the human condition. It was that interesting. I'm not gonna lie, when I finished Psycho Pass, I did start actively thinking about, if I had a crime coefficient, what color is my hue? And that was pretty fun for a while. Number 4. Coming in at number 4 on my list is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Now, for a show of FMAB's caliber, number 4 is quite low on this list, but nevertheless, it's still a show that deserves its position wholeheartedly. FMAB's exceptional character development is what earns it the number 4 spot on my list. It is one of, if not the only show that has had me caring for absolutely every single character with a couple of exceptions like Izumi's husband and some of the homunculi, but aside from a couple of exceptions, it's had me caring for absolutely every single character who has ever appeared on screen, from Edward all the way to Lieutenant Hawkeye, from Alphonse all the way to... If you've seen the show, you know exactly what I mean. It is an incredibly well-renowned show and a well-rounded show. There's not really anything to pick at for FMAB, and I just enjoyed it as it is. I've actually watched it twice. I will probably watch it a third time at some point down the line, and just the idea of watching it again excites me because there's so much to love about that show and so very little, borderline nothing to hate. Number 3. Arriving at number 3 is Kuroko no Basuke. Now this may come as a surprise to some people, but when you think about it, it's not at all that surprising. Of all the sports anime out there, Kuroko is the most over the top, and that is my kind of shit. Over the top anime with amazing effects, pretty good characters, and most of all, special abilities. If you've watched any of my previous videos where I go on about this stuff, or you know me as an anime watcher, you will know that I adore special abilities and superpowers when it comes to anime because they're so fucking good. And in the realm of a sports anime, they're even better because it was the first sports anime I watched, so it caught me off guard when I see things like The Zone, or Kisei's Perfect Copy, or Midorima's High Projectile 3, or the Emperor Eye, or Kuroko's Misdirection, and all the different tricks that he does with that. All that shit caught me off guard because I'm like, wait, I thought I was watching a sports anime, not fucking Dragon Ball Z! And combined with some pretty decent characterization, like there's some decent development between like all, obviously the main characters like Kuroko and Kagami and the rest of the members of Seirin, between the other members of the Kiseki no Sedai. There's a really good story, and it's a trip that I really enjoyed when I watched it. I went from watching like 1 episode a day to watching like 5 or 6 episodes when it came to season 3 because I was just like, bruh, I can't stop it, it's so good, it's so fucking good. Like I just had to see what happened next because the pace was so good. Number 2. At number 2 on my list is something a little different. It's a movie. It's Summer Wars. Now, I don't watch that many anime movies. If you go onto my list, you'll see a bunch of anime series-related movies, like the Anno Exorcist movie and the Psychopass movie, but you won't see that many independent movies, and that's where Summer Wars comes into its own. It was something I watched back as a community event, like, years ago now. When I originally watched it, I went to the cinema. It was something that like my local council had organised for some kind of like anime month event that they were doing. I went to go and see that in the cinema, and I was absolutely blown away. Not only was I blown away by the quality and the characters and the story, but I was blown away by how much I loved this film upon watching it for the first time, and this was because of how incredibly nostalgic it was. If you've seen Summer Wars and the first Digimon film, like the first original Digimon film, then you'll know what I'm talking about, because those two films are both anime films I adore with all my heart, and they are so incredibly similar. Not so much in like the main characters, but in their main concepts. A virus gains some sort of power over a system. In Digimon's case, I believe it was the internet, and in Summer Wars' case, it's Oz, this like online community that almost everyone in the world is a part of, and a bunch of people have to group together to solve it. At its core, that's the similarity between those two films, and I found that incredibly endearing. Even though I didn't know it was an anime movie at the time, along with things like the first Pokemon movie, the first Digimon movie was one of my favourite things that I'd seen at the time. So when I saw the film again, but under the name Summer Wars, I instantly fell in love with it because it was one of my favourite films as a child, pretty much reimagined, and that made me incredibly happy. Summer Wars isn't only at number 2 because of the nostalgia it gave me, it's there because as an independent film, it is genuinely one of my favourite animated things ever to watch. I was really invested in the main character's story to see how he progressed from being this, not really shut in, but this really secluded guy to effectively being this entire family's hero. When you learn more about him and how his parents are never around, which helps him integrate more into their family, and then he gets found out as a criminal, and then the family almost kind of rejects him, and he becomes more true to himself. It's that kind of progression in a main character that I really admired and I really enjoyed. After I initially watched Summer Wars in the cinema that summer, I then watched it every summer for like 3 or 4 years without fail because I really enjoyed the film. I eventually went and bought the DVD. It's probably one of my most watched films just because all around it is really good. If you haven't seen it and you enjoy things like Digimon, or you've seen the Digimon first movie and you've been looking for something similar, I wholeheartedly recommend you watch Summer Wars. Number 1! And now, at number 1 on my list, if you really didn't figure this out, then you probably need to go and inspect my videos a bit more. It's Gurren Lagann. If you know me, or you've seen my anime list, or you've watched any of my previous videos, like literally any of them, then it shouldn't have been too hard to figure out that number 1 on this list was going to be Gurren Lagann. And as for why, it's mainly because in my head, Gurren Lagann is my idea of literally the perfect anime. It has got the perfect balance of action, it's got the perfect balance of feels, it goes completely over the top, it goes over the top, it goes over the top of over the top, it goes over the top of over the top of over the top. It is the de facto Gainax work that just keeps on going and keeps on giving, and oh, there's so many reasons for why it's my favourite. Like FMAB, I care for almost every single character who appears on camera. There's the perfect balance of craziness, there's a perfect balance of mellowness, there's good character development. Like Shimon for me is one of the best characters developed in any anime I've ever watched. Obviously I'm kind of biased because it's my favourite anime, but that's one of the reasons why it's my favourite anime. He as a character shows some of the greatest development and growth throughout a series that I've ever had the pleasure of watching. Like in my eyes, Gurren Lagann is FLCL times 10. It goes so much more over the top, but as far as characters and like coming of age goes, it is one of, if not the best coming of age story ever. To see a boy really come into his own as a man, to go through the trials and tribulations and the struggles, and it's just so well done. It is my perfect anime. If you know me, you'll know I've got nothing bad to say about Gurren Lagann. It is just my definition of the perfect anime, with just everything it does right. Absolutely everything it does right. It's my favorite anime. Because of just the sheer perfection. Everything it does right. Gurren Lagann does no wrong as a show, and that is why it is my number 1. And that's going to be it from me, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe in the comments leave some of your favourite anime. Maybe some of the shows I mentioned are your favourite anime as well. Maybe you disagree with my rankings and you'd reorder them differently. Let's get some conversation going in the comments below or on Twitter at OraMagi. There'll be a link in the description below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
おやすみ。